today, I'm divorcing you. Get out of our house already. After being away on a business trip for 2 months, the husband returned and immediately said such things upon entering the house. Who could have predicted that he would bring back his mistress? As I was lost for words, the lover sat down on the sofa with a sense of entitlement. He gestured towards the entrance with his chin, clearly intending to kick me out as soon as possible. They wanted to get rid of the nuisance that was me quickly, but it wasn't going to be that easy. Regaining my composure, I responded clearly. Excuse me? But this is my house. What? What? In a way, the two of them, blissfully unaware, grinned, dreaming of a lavish life they would never have again, not knowing they were about to plummet into hell. My name is Mandy Johnson. After graduating from university, I worked at a corporation where I met Ryan, a senior colleague. He was caring and had mentored me when I joined the company. His mature demeanor was so appealing that I gradually developed feelings for him. Ryan seemed to like me too, and within 6 months, he confessed his feelings for me. Our relationship began immediately and progressed smoothly. However, Ryan was not without admirers. This became particularly noticeable 2 years after I joined the company. When Ashley Morris was hired, Ryan was assigned to mentor her, and I felt their closeness was unusually close. Ashley was beautiful and had a charm that seemed to appeal to men, and it felt like Ryan was not averse to her attention. Driven by jealousy, it became painful to see how close they appeared to be. Just when I was overwhelmed with these worries, Ryan surprised me by proposing marriage. Fearing that I might be abandoned, I was thrilled to be wanted and still remember how happy I felt. Of course, I accepted his proposal and we happily registered our marriage. At 26, I began a new life with the man I loved. But this was not just the beginning of happiness. What I envisioned as a glamorous married life turned out to be a stark and cold reality. The most shocking moment of our marriage was meeting Ryan's family. I was nervous about what kind of people they would be and let out a gasp when I first saw them. Wait, why is the president here? Turns out, Ryan's father was the president of the company we worked for. Ryan being the president's son was apparently a secret even within the company. Naturally, I had no idea, and the revelation was tremendous. Sorry for keeping it a secret. But I want to be a man who can take over the company on my own merits. Not just because of connections. That's why I hid it. I see. I had no idea. But are you sure I'm the right one for you? It's because it's you, Mandy. Have more confidence. Though shocked, Ryan's words comforted me. The president, Kevin, despite his serious image at work, had a kind demeanor that made him easy to be around. My son will be very busy from now on. Having a kind woman like you, Mandy, by his side will surely help him stay motivated. Please take care of him, even though he's like this. Nodding vigorously, I was reminded anew of how remarkable Ryan was. What surprised me most, though, was the financial power of my in-laws. Delighted with our marriage, Kevin even prepared a house for us. The world we were to live in was so different, it was bewildering. Dad is amazing. I'll work hard to become a cool president like him. Encouraged by Ryan's ambition, I resolved to do my best as his wife. After discussing it with Ryan, I decided to quit my job and become a full-time housewife. Honestly, I would have liked to work a little longer. However, Ryan asked me to prioritize household duties so he could focus on his work, and I agreed. It's a bit sad to quit my job, but Ryan is working hard, so I can't complain. As I expected, Ryan started coming home much later after I quit my job. He must be dealing with more work than ever. Some days, he even stayed overnight at the company. Our married life had only started 2 months ago, yet we hardly spent any time together. Even though we were supposed to be living together, it felt lonelier than living alone. I understand you're busy, but I wish you'd pay a little more attention to home life. I mentioned feeling lonely several times indirectly, but it didn't seem to reach Ryan. At that time, his passion for improving his skills and handling his work was his life. If we have kids in the future, I won't be able to immerse myself in work like this. I know I'm making you endure this, but now is the time to work hard. Told that it was for our future life together, I had no choice but to endure. However, as months passed, the effort gradually lost momentum. When Ryan came home around midnight, even if I was awake, he showed no interest. You must be tired. I'll heat up dinner. You must be hungry. I made your favorite. I already ate something light at the burger shop on the way home. I'm tired, so I'm going to sleep. Ryan avoided eye contact and went straight to the bedroom. And in the morning, he barely glanced at the breakfast I had prepared before rushing out. Clearing up the untouched breakfast became a routine. When did it start that I threw away the food I woke up early to prepare? As I did this, I began to feel an immense sense of emptiness. I'm lonely. Before marriage, we had more time and could talk more. Now, there's hardly any meaningful conversation in our home. My days were reduced to mechanically performing household chores. On rare occasions, Ryan would be home on Sundays. On such a day, we had breakfast together for the first time in a long while. It's rare to have a day off like this, so why don't we go out? I found a cafe you might like. Since it's finally a day off, let me relax at home. You really don't get it. No matter how cheerfully I try to engage him, Ryan responds curtly. He quickly finished his breakfast and hurried off to the living room. Still, it's better than the days when he doesn't touch his food at all. As I hurried to finish my own, the doorbell rang unexpectedly early in the morning. Who could that be this early? It's only 8 a.m. Wondering, I watched as Ryan, who had been sluggish just moments ago, quickly stood up and dashed to the entrance. Perhaps he had ordered something? But I was shocked beyond words when I saw who he had let in. Wow, Ryan's house is really beautiful. Oh, long time no see, Mandy. You've aged a bit since I last saw you. Are you tired? It was Ashley, a junior colleague. Her speech, still filled with a student-like casualness, was grating on my ears. Why are you here? I came to celebrate Ryan's marriage. I've always been grateful to him, so I wanted to do something. I knew you were coming today, but I didn't expect you this morning. Ryan, now smiling brightly, was a stark contrast to earlier, and it irked me. If he knew she was coming, why didn't he tell me? And what was with that smile? No matter that she's a junior, watching my husband grin at another woman was not pleasant. Forcing a smile, I prepared some tea. You really didn't have to go to all this trouble. It's okay. I just wanted to see Ryan. By the way, have you gained some weight? Is there a baby on the way? Her smirking question hurt. I want a child too. But with hardly any time together, how could I possibly be expecting? It's just a little weight gain. A baby might be a bit further down the line. Oh, is that why Ryan isn't excited? Cheer up, you can lose a bit of weight if you try. Ashley's teasing had a clear bite to it. Just as I was about to call her out for her lack of tact, she placed a large paper bag on the table. Oh, and I brought a gift today. Please, take it. Hesitant, I watched as Ryan quickly reached into the bag. A tie? Dark blue with a small embroidery. Nice choice. I spent a lot of time choosing it, thinking it would suit you, Ryan. I know your taste well. Ashley really understands me well. It's great having such a cute junior. Ryan was genuinely smiling. Regardless of her being a junior, their closeness was questionable. Her timing was inappropriate. And the occasional hostility I felt from Ashley was nothing but stress for me. Trying to tune out, Ryan tapped my shoulder and said, "I'll drop Ashley off at her house. It's a good chance for a quick outing." What? You didn't want to go out when I asked, but now you will? If Ryan's going, I'm coming too. What are you talking about? If you go out too, who will do the housework? Laughing, he pointed at the dishes in the kitchen as if it were obvious that it was my job. As various emotions welled up inside me, Ryan cheerfully left the house with Ashley. What is this? Am I supposed to be a maid here? My frustration was not subsiding. Flipping through the abandoned calendar, I noticed summer was approaching. Next month is my birthday. Does Ryan even remember? I had hoped that he would at least remember our anniversary, but that hope was quickly dashed. This was evident when, less than a week after Ashley's visit, Ryan dropped another surprise. By the way, I'm going on a business trip out of the prefecture next week. As usual, please take care of the house. Another sudden trip. How long will you be gone? About a week. No, 2 months. It's long, but it's work, so it can't be helped. His frown suggested he was annoyed by my reaction. I am the future president. I'll have this kind of work from now on. It's bothersome if you make that face every time. Sorry, but next month is. I stopped myself. Mentioning my birthday seemed pointless. It wouldn't change his work commitments. I didn't say anything more to Ryan. During his business trip, I sent him messages during what I thought would be his free times. I thought he might reply if the messages were simple, but I barely got one response a week. Most were read and ignored. At best, he would return a single emoji. That was the same even on my birthday. While my parents and friends called or sent vibrant messages, not a word from my husband Ryan. Even Kevin, my father-in-law, made a point of visiting, but Ryan remained silent. Finally, I mentioned it was my birthday. The only response was a stamp saying okay. A wave of loneliness crashed over me. What am I to Ryan? I try so hard as his wife, but am I just deluding myself? Unable to bear these feelings alone any longer, I decided to have a serious talk about our future when Ryan returned. Ryan returned from his business trip, and as I waited in the living room, I saw him come home with a woman. It was Ashley again. What's going on? You just got back from your business trip, what is happening? I blurted this out as I looked back and forth between Ryan and Ashley. However, they boldly declared with smirks on their faces. I'm divorcing you. Get out of our house already. Divorce. What are you talking about? I was dumbfounded by a situation far beyond my worst expectations. I had suspected something between Ryan and Ashley before. But who could imagine they would take such audacious steps? As I lost my words, the mistress confidently took a seat on the sofa. Ryan gestured towards the door, clearly intending to throw me out immediately. After my business trip, I've nearly completed my preparations to take over the company's leadership. I don't need a housekeeper anymore, so I've decided to live with the beautiful and obedient Ashley. Obedient, her. You really have no eye for women. Don't snap at Ashley just because she's younger and cuter than you. She's the one I truly love, and I won't forgive you if you say anything more. As if I were the villain, Ryan criticized me. A truly honest person wouldn't engage in such cruel infidelity. Ignorant of such basic decency, they both laughed triumphantly. Facing a reality I had avoided acknowledging, I felt my patience snap. I had intended to discuss things properly and even find a compromise if we were to separate. But with them pushing it this far, I wouldn't hold back either. I steeled myself to fight thoroughly and regained my composure before replying clearly. Excuse me? But this is my house. What? What? The two of them, mistakenly believing they still had the upper hand, grinned smugly. If they thought they could keep smiling, they were sorely mistaken. This is your house? Don't make me laugh. This house was given to me by my father. The ownership will eventually be transferred to me, so it can't possibly belong to you, Mandy. About that, the ownership has already been transferred to me. I presented a document to Ryan, who still refused to believe. This is the property registration certificate. It shows who owns the house. Ryan snatched the document and stared at it until he could no longer deny the truth. His face, which had been relaxed, gradually tensed up. Wait, I don't understand. It really is in Mandy's name. What did you do? You didn't forge documents, did you? Stop with the absurd accusations. I wouldn't commit a crime like that. Then why is it under your name? Are you saying my father transferred it to you? As Ryan panicked, I nodded in affirmation. Indeed, I had officially received the house from Kevin. Why would he give it to someone like you? Why, you ask? Because you're the worst kind of man. Cheating on your wife and treating her like trash. I then laid out a bulging envelope on the table alongside the document. Inside were numerous photos of Ryan and Ashley holding hands and entering a hotel together. I've been suspicious of you and Ashley for a while now. Recently, the distance between you two seemed off, so I had it investigated. Hiring a private detective and obtaining such evidence in less than a week was possible. Because Ryan had been so careless. He probably never imagined I would do something like this. Thinking of me as just a convenient housekeeper was his downfall. That can't be. Hiring a detective isn't cheap. I've been cutting back on living expenses to prevent anything unusual. Ryan inadvertently revealed that as well. Indeed, he never disclosed his salary to me. The money he handed over for living expenses was barely enough for meals for two. If used on household needs, I was left with almost nothing for personal use. It seems I haven't bought anything but necessities since we got married. Yet, he did as he pleased, coming home in the morning or bar hopping. There were times when I felt dissatisfied, but I never imagined it was intentional. You're quite petty, aren't you? But indeed, with no extra money, you probably never thought I could hire someone. Then who's the fool who gave you such an idea? Grinding his teeth, Ryan tore up the evidence photos. I had already backed them up, so it was pointless. Watching him waste his efforts, I continued. That would be your father, Kevin. If it weren't for him, I'd probably be crying and kicked out by now. While Ryan was away on his business trip, I battled loneliness alone. Even though I received birthday greetings from many, the emptiness in my heart persisted. I was so distraught, crying day and night, that I didn't notice the noise at the front door at all. What's this, Mandy? Crying on your birthday? It's dark and Ryan's not here. There was Kevin, who had used his key to enter the house, planning a surprise for me. He dropped a shopping bag full of overly festive decorations and cared for me like a real father. You ignored my birthday, but Kevin remembered. I confided everything you did to me. Kevin was as furious as if it were his own matter. He insisted on funding a consultation with a detective agency. That's why I was able to hire them. Tattling, what a sneaky thing to do. If you didn't like it, you should have come back sooner. I heard the business trip wasn't supposed to be for 2 months anyway. When I said that, Ryan and Ashley were visibly shaken. It had come to light when I consulted with Kevin. Though Kevin, the president, had instructed Ryan to go on a business trip. It was supposed to last only a month. I knew this month was Mandy's birthday. I had arranged the schedule so that you could be together on this important day. Kevin was puzzled because Ryan should have already returned by now. A few days ago, he had been informed that Ryan had returned from his business trip and was back at work as usual. If he hasn't come home, where could he be? Perhaps he's lying and staying with his mistress? Having suspected an affair, Ashley's face immediately came to my mind. As expected, Ryan had been spending the last month at her place, enjoying their time together. Some of the evidence photos I showed earlier included images of the two of them leaving Ashley's house. As expected, an insidious and charmless woman would stoop to such dirty tricks. Without youth or beauty, you can't do anything unless you drag others into your mess. Ashley, standing behind an agitated Ryan, also became irate. She started ranting about being photographed at her home, accusing me of invasion of privacy. It's sad to be used and then discarded, but taking it this far is just lashing out. I could sue you for this, you know? Go ahead and sue if you want to. In such a disadvantageous position, if you can still make a fuss in court, go right ahead. At my words, Ashley was at a loss for words. Frustrated, she hid behind Ryan and yanked on his arm forcefully. Hey, Ryan. Do something. This woman is ruining my happiness. Don't panic. She's just a stranger. Dad is kind, and since I'm his real son, he'll definitely believe us. Ignoring me, Ryan pulled out his smartphone, presumably to contact Kevin. Too bad for you. Your sob story might have worked on my dad. But my words carry more weight because I'm valuable to the company. Just watch as Dad takes my side. Ryan quickly dialed a number and put the phone to his ear. Then, the ringtone came from the back room. Ryan recognized the familiar tune and paled. That tune, isn't that Dad's ringtone? Before I could answer, the door to the back room burst open. The person who emerged was Kevin. Glaring at Ryan and heaving a big sigh as if he was utterly disappointed. I'm so disappointed in you. I've seen the evidence photos, and despite hoping they were lies, here we are. Wait, it's not like that. And why is Dad here anyway? I called him. I thought we'd talk about various things once Ryan returned from his business trip. I had planned to settle serious matters like infidelity and divorce today. More importantly, I wanted Kevin to see Ryan's usual behavior. So I had asked him to hide here beforehand. I was prepared to some extent, but I never thought you would be this brazen. How do you explain this? Well, this is, you see. Ryan, previously so defiant, now stuttered like a child in front of his father. Well, it's just. Mandy only tells stories that suit her. She just lounges around at home, getting uglier and uglier. Besides, her housekeeping is so sloppy that I didn't even want to come home. With a husband like you, anyone would be stressed and tired. Besides, I never felt her housekeeping was sloppy. On the contrary, I was quite impressed with how well she kept the house. I had never been thanked by Ryan for my housekeeping. It was always taken for granted, so Kevin's kind words resonated deeply. You know, I've been enduring a lot, right? I thought you were working hard for our future. And there's not even a single apology for all this? What? Why should I apologize? It's your fault we're in this mess. And now I've lost my house too. If anyone should be apologizing, it's you. Ryan's frustration escalated as he became increasingly heated. I felt genuine fear and moved closer to Kevin. I'm the future president. I'm going to be someone important. It's an inconvenience to be dragged down by a petty woman like you. How can you say such things to someone you once loved? Loved? Don't make me laugh. Ryan sneered coldly, pulling Ashley close to show off. I never loved you. I just thought if I flattered you, you'd do the housework. You're nothing more than a maid who doesn't cost a penny. Ryan's smile was strained, knowing he was making excuses. Unaware of the awkwardness, Ashley smiled happily, thinking she was on the winning side. Fine. I'll give you this house and everything else. With a small house like this, if I really work, I can build as many as I want. After all, I'm the future president, a man destined to be wealthy. What are you talking about? There's no way you're going to be the next president. What? As Ryan blustered, Kevin sighed deeply. He had told me that depending on Ryan's responses, he might consider firing him. Even as a parent, he hoped for some sign of repentance. But that was now unlikely. Kevin shook his head wearily and said, "Ryan, you're fired as of today. You don't need to come to the company anymore. The same goes for you, Ashley. You too have disrupted the company's morale. And you've made my family terribly sad." Kevin's hand gently stroked my back. His warmth felt profoundly comforting. Damn it. Do whatever you want. I'll live with Ashley in true love. I never want anything to do with you people again. As they tried to leave, I stopped them abruptly. There was still an important matter to discuss. Wait, I'll be seeking compensation through my lawyer. So don't even think about running away. Ashley, that includes you. Huh? I don't have any money, so that's impossible. Then you'll have to borrow it and pay it back. What you did deserves that much. As I glared, Ashley muttered after a moment's thought. This is the worst. I should have never gotten involved with Ryan. What? What are you talking about? If there's love, isn't this easy? Then use that power of love to make money for me. I'm not interested in guys who are broke. Abandoned by the sulking Ashley, Ryan chased after a much younger woman. That must have been the true love Ryan wanted. I didn't think it would last long. Are you okay? You must be tired, take some rest. Thank you. I'm sorry to have put you in such an unpleasant role, Kevin. It's fine. I was happy you relied on me. But now, what about the succession issue? Kevin thought for a while, stroking his chin, then suddenly turned his eyes to me. Do you have any job prospects, Mandy? No, not at the moment. I plan to start looking once things settle down. Then, why don't you work for us again? We're short 2 employees, and we could use the help. Surprised by the unexpected offer, I asked if he was sure, and Kevin nodded emphatically. Someone as serious as you would be valued at any company. This is, you could say, headhunting. What do you think? Tears welled up in my eyes as I nodded several times. It had been tough being rejected by Ryan to that extent. Although I had silenced him, I still didn't feel up to thinking about what to do next. But if they were seeking my help, I wanted to respond. I am inexperienced, but I look forward to working with you. After enduring a long hell, I thus began a new life. Half a year has passed. I had returned to the company as Kevin's secretary. Originally, when Ryan became president, I thought studying for a secretary certification might come in handy, and it has. My salary has increased from before, and I've been living more freely, both personally and professionally. One day, during lunchtime, I received a call from a familiar number. Ryan? Why now? I hadn't seen Ryan since the day we parted. Our divorce had already been finalized, and I had already demanded a settlement of $50,000. I didn't care what kind of life Ryan, chased by monthly payments, was leading. Yet, after such a breakup, I hadn't expected him to contact me. After ignoring several calls, irritated by the continuously ringing smartphone, I inadvertently answered. I'm on a break at work, what is it? You finally answered. Help me, Mandy. Ryan's voice over the phone trembled as if he was scared. I silenced him for a moment. I don't know what happened, but I have no obligation to help you. Aren't you confirming your true love with a beautiful and wonderful wife by now? True love, my foot. Ashley was the worst woman. Ryan, showing regret, started explaining what had happened. After our divorce, Ryan had lost all his savings and was living with Ashley in a small apartment. While his pride was hurt, he worked part-time to earn living expenses. But Ashley trampled on Ryan's efforts. She was cheating on me with several other men. And because I was the poorest, she planned to dump me. For Ashley, the appeal was not Ryan himself, but his title as the next president. Having lost that, he was readily discarded as if he were no longer needed. I borrowed money to buy her a car to win her back. But she disappeared with the car. Now I'm being chased by debt collectors. It's the worst. It seemed that being betrayed by Ashley really got to him. As I could tell, he was slumping even over the phone. This isn't something new. Did you really not realize it until now? What? What do you mean? Did you know about Ashley's affair? Though I felt bad for the flustered Ryan, I had known about her true nature for a long time. That was from the photos gathered during the investigation into Ryan's affairs. The detective agency had been watching Ashley's house closely. Because there were frequent comings and goings, and at that time, men other than Ryan were also seen entering and leaving. Of course, I haven't shown those photos to Ryan. The only evidence I showed him was strictly of his own infidelities. It wasn't the information I was interested in, so I didn't care. If you had told me from the beginning, this wouldn't have happened. Ryan, trembling with anger, took a deep breath and then suddenly spoke in a kinder tone. After all, I guess a smart woman like you is the best for me. Weren't you lonely too? Let's start over. The way he spoke as if we were just starting out made my spine shiver. Unfortunately, I'm fulfilled both in my work and private life. No matter how free I am, I absolutely can't be with someone like you. Then, at least lend me some money. If the debt collectors find me, I don't know what they'll do to me. He continued to whine without listening to me. Tired of the hassle, I hung up in the middle of the conversation and set my phone to block his calls. What happens to Ryan from here on is none of my concern. And Ashley will soon learn her lesson too. Ashley is good at catching the wrong kind of men, isn't she? Ashley's cheating partners, as it turns out, were all men with bad reputations. Some were forced to work to pay off debts or had histories of wrongdoing, backgrounds that were too messy to get involved with. Ryan was still a small fry compared to them. I want to live seriously so I don't end up like that. I also want to repay Kevin's kindness. From that day on, I never heard from Ryan again. Later, the lawyer reported on the settlement claim. Apparently, Ryan had settled the payment in full. However, the source of the money was from a dubious financial institution. And due to the debt, he was being used like a tool there. He was forced to work from morning till night for barely minimum wage. And had to keep taking part-time jobs to the extent that it aged him significantly. He supposedly still lives nearby. But I probably wouldn't recognize him even if we passed each other on the street. Meanwhile, Ashley is still making repayments. As I predicted, she was deceived by the boyfriend she had. And is now being forced to work at a strip club. Ashley, who used to play with men, is now being deceived by another man. Contributing to him by working every night. The once young and beautiful Ashley now suffers from lack of sleep, rough skin, and a hoarse voice from drinking. I still remember feeling pity for how far a person can fall. I am still working as Kevin's secretary. But he has consulted me about considering a generational change soon. If someone is as reliable as you, Mandy, I could leave the company in your hands. Don't say such things, let me study more. I still have a lot to learn from you, Kevin. I may not be capable enough now. But someday I want to become a respectable person who can confidently take over the company. I think that's the best way I can repay him.